Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the Channel Drop-In. My name is Glenn Robertson from Pure Channels, and I'm super delighted to welcome with us today Jay McBain from Forrester. It's with great pleasure that I introduce Jay. And Jay, thank you ever so much for dropping in for the first edition. Jay, if I can just ask you for 10 or 20 seconds on who you are and what you do for those people that might have been hiding under something for a long time and haven't come across you on the channel. If I could ask you to do that, that'd be great, please.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for having me. I'm the principal analyst for Forrester for channels, partnerships, alliances, ecosystems, kind of the whole practice around indirect selling, which covers about 75% of the world. I spent my entire 26 years career in as being a channel leader for vendors, as well as running my own channel software company. So been in this since the very beginning.
Fabulous, fabulous, and thank you so much for joining us. As I say, on this, our first edition of the Channel Drop-In. If we can just remind ourselves of the idea here, it's about bringing together a select group of experts to deliver some absolute gold. They'll come along, they'll drop in, drop the gold, and drop out again. We're going to spend a few minutes listening to Jay and what he thinks about the current situation. So without further ado, we'll make a start on the clock. And Jay, so you're an analyst, senior analyst at Forrester. Fabulous that you're with us today. But what is it that you've been seeing, particularly over the last few weeks? And what is it that you've been looking at? What is it that seems to be happening now? What do you think the likely impact of this is going to be? And ultimately, are there any opportunities in this that we can maybe take a look at in the channel?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And we're in the middle of something that's absolutely unprecedented. The second part is we're still on the hockey stick, going up, to use a Canadian term, where I was born. So it's very hard to make a prediction, especially here in the US, with hourly news, being fed. But it's hard to make a prediction when the plateau is going to come. But the CDC actually built out 4 scenarios, A, B, C, D, with the D one being very, very severe and millions of deaths and things like that. But we aligned our predictions around that. And the best case scenario had us dropping from about 4.2% growth globally in the channel to about 2%. And that wiped off about $47 billion of opportunity. So that's significant in the best case.
Yep. Right.
Well, today, literally today, we're moving from the best case to scenario B. We're not going to come out of this with the best case. Right now, the economists around the world, some of the big banks, and some of the big experts in this area are starting to talk about a September recovery at best, which pushes us late in third quarter into fourth quarter, which is going to have more of a material impact on the channel. I go back to 2008, where almost a third of partners either went bankrupt or were forced into M&A, and we had a significant haircut in terms of the industry. And if we spend more time into fourth quarter, even John Chambers from Cisco this morning said it might be a 2021 from his vantage point. If that's the case, there are 25% of VARs, resellers, MSPs around the world that struggle to break even or outright lose money. And this was in the best of economic times. Strong stock market, 0% unemployment. And these are the companies that can't go weeks, if months, without cash and cash flow and credit and other capital facilities. So it could be dire, but in scenario B, we're going to see probably a double-digit impact in terms of the number of partners, and we could start to see some pretty significant negative growth in many of the technology categories.
Okay, so I mean that's pretty hard hitting stuff, right? It really is, and might come as a shock or a surprise to a lot of people. So is it the case that we have to prepare for the worst, or is it the case that we should be still using the word recovery? Is it still going to happen? And is there any glint of hope? What can we do in order to potentially make the situation better?
Yeah, so we definitely know a recovery is coming, and the economic health of the G20 and the world economy, the $86 trillion economy, was really, really healthy going into this.
Yep.
And most people expect a somewhat V-shaped recovery, and the question is when. But we do think that there will be a bounce back, and how flat that V is
Yeah.
is a concern. But the fact of the matter is, we will get back to something that's the new normal,
Yep.
and that's
Yep.
where we're starting to see opportunities in the channel. CompTIA did a big survey that saw 72% of partners saw some initial bump in opportunity, and we obviously know that pushing every white collar worker to remote, they've sucked up every enterprise laptop from Dell and HP and Lenovo. They went on to
Yep.
Amazon and sucked up every consumer laptop. Edge security necessary to do that. The UCaaS, Microsoft added 14 million users. Zoom added more users than they did all of last year. WebEx is running 3.2 million meetings a day. Slack added 7,000 customers. I mean, it's just unbelievable growth in some of the areas. And this is the triage period. And when we hit that plateau and we get into the second area, this is where, we've seen a lot of the big projects dry up. And where's the money going to go? So we're busy surveying customers. We know that automation is actually going to be the number one opportunity when this plateaus. So RPA, robotic process automation, BPA, business process automation, BPO, business process outsourcing, are three areas that the channel should be looking at in terms of, in this case with COVID, it's been a human failure as we've moved humans out of normal processes and workflows and logic. Companies are going to start to look to more seriously than they have to in the past, transforming how their business runs, and trying to remove humans as much as possible from, some of the core workings of a company. And I think the channel is well positioned. They understand the business, they understand where the inefficiencies are, and they can actually be the ones that recommend and execute these changes.
So do you? I mean, we've talked about transformation. We talked about digital transformation for what seems like a really long time now. Are we seeing now where people genuinely have digitally transformed, and those that haven't, maybe?
Yeah, we definitely have. And hold on.
Hey, we got a new drop in.
There we go.
That's it.
This is the new way we do meetings.
This is the what? This is exactly that, right?
So yeah, we absolutely have the new normal, and partners have the opportunity to really drive not only automation but the new threat vectors and security. They have the new ability to focus on business consulting at a level that they never have in the past. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come from this for the channel.
And are we talking about products, or are we talking about behavior and reaction and as you say, transformation?
Yeah, it's going to be a mix. I mean, there are products, like I mentioned, RPA and BPA type products. There's obviously a number of security products. There's going to be a number of new services that partners will be able to execute on. And there'll be, obviously behavioral changes as we get into this new normal, which we haven't fully defined yet. And every day, I think we have a new, set of hypotheses on what the new normal is going to be.
And I think that's a great point, and it's absolutely wonderful to be joined by the additional little drop in there. And this is the part of it that I love. We're sitting on video conferences and video calls and these sorts of things day in day out. Have we developed a new acceptance or a new understanding of the new normal, which is, hey, we can have dog or cat in the background, and that's okay. We can have children or wife walk past, or partner come in and we'll go out again, and that's okay. I think this is the new normal, and it's about acceptance and understanding. And actually, so long as we're still kind of doing business, all those other bits are actually okay.
Yeah, there was actually a viral video last week. I was on a call. I was with Nancy Hammervick, as well as a couple of other leaders from Aruba and other places. And 1,000 people were dialed into this webcast. My daughter walks in with a princess outfit.
Sorry,
and the viral video is they kind of showed the guy from the BBC video that went viral before. Stiff arm his kid with his wife jumping in the background. And now the new normal is, they walk in, you put them on your lap, and you do it as normal. And we're working as business partners, as the channel, with our clients and with our vendors. We're inviting people into our home. We're inviting them, and they're getting introduced to our kids. They're getting introduced to our pets, as you mentioned. This is a whole new normal. This is, this isn't the fluorescent lights in the cubicles that we work with in business.
Yeah.
And this is the part of it, if any positive comes from this, is I think there'll be more remote work. The pendulum's never going to go back completely to where it was. And this idea that we can be more personal. And, I'm wearing a t-shirt and, kids are walking in and things like that. But that doesn't disrupt business. And we don't have this facade like we've had in the past. And I worked for IBM and Lenovo for 17 years, and I wore a suit and tie every single day of my entire career. And here I am, with a t-shirt, on video with my kids walking in. So I think this is the new normal, and I'm really excited about that part.
And at the end, is the bottom line of this that, it's just a really actually quite nice reminder that behind, as you quite rightly put it, the business facade, the barriers that we ourselves put up, actually behind all of that, it is still a whole bunch of people that actually have families, and they live places, and they do things, they have hobbies, they have pets, they have partners, they have kids. Is it just a little reminder of that, just to become human again and start communicating sensibly?
I think it is, and we need to treat each other better, and as businesses, and I think of the channel and how ingrained they are with their customers, and many of their customers report back to us that their managed service provider or their VAR is a part of the team. In a lot of cases, they give them an employee badge, or they already have, and they really expect them to sit at the executive table with them, and they're that trusted of a business partner as well as a friend within that organization. And that's the, vendors can take heed of that as well, and understand these relationships. The channel's brand as an essential service, as people who have rolled up their sleeves for the safety and health of their communities, their customers, their own employees. We all get a lift out of this. And again, business becomes more personal, and we all benefit because of that.
Yeah, I think that's just a perfect place to finish, Jay. That's excellent. I know. Look, we started this off by having an idea and getting people together to drop some gold. I mean, if this past 5 or 10 minutes hasn't been full of gold, I genuinely don't know what is. And it's been an absolute privilege as always to have you take conversation and take the time to join me. This has been the first channel drop in. Really happy that you've joined us. Glad you're well. Very, very nice to meet your daughter there. And I could literally sit here and chat to you all afternoon. I know you're busy, and we have other things to get on with. So for now, if there's anything that you'd like to add, just in conclusion, maybe your top tips in terms of how the channel can what they can do now and how they can prepare. If you've got maybe 2 tips for us to leave us with.
Yeah, obviously right now everyone's in triage. So they're not obviously thinking strategically. We're doing the jobs that we're paid for, and from a community perspective, we're doing great work. I would have one eye on the future in terms of what this recovery, specifically looking at what customers are talking about, things like automation, advanced security, things like the business consulting that I talked about. This movement to cloud is going to be accelerated. Everyone's digital transformation that had a 3 or 5 year time window to it now has a 12 to 18 month time window.
Yeah.
Jumping on all of these opportunities, and again, continually to be that essential service, even in not a time of crisis, is what we all need to be focused on.
Fabulous. Jay, many thanks. This has been great. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Everybody watching, many thanks also for watching. This has been the first edition of the Channel Drop-In. I'm Glenn Robertson from Pure Channels. There will be more episodes to follow, hopefully with people dropping as much gold as Jay just has. Thanks ever so much, Jay, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.